then I think they're singing their little thing, and then, they're like, here's our new involvement, and then, it's really interesting, like, look out.
All right.
Look for it. Man. Are you? I am 2019. Who are you? Hi, I'm Margaret. It's good to meet you. Yes, you can.
All right, Margaret, I'm gonna let you, let's see, well, the one thing I'm gonna have you stand. Or I'm gonna have to have you do this for a second. I apologize.
Oh, that's
From
fine.
here, that's where the camera is on this camera now.
Oh, right here? How do you not shout with these on?
Just see. I'm gonna get this one over here. Give me a second. You can start. I will have this one.
Okay, so just start talking. Like, are we live right now? Can they see me
I
asking?
can see you.
Great. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, whether it's in person or remotely. We're very grateful to have you here for our event. I'm going to start by introducing the DMI team. I am Margaret Hires. I'm the administrative assistant. This is Greg Nelson. He's our academic director and the instructor for the animation and visual effects one-year course. Brandon Johnson is our online education coordinator. And Elizabeth Boitnott is our operations director. So we are your DMI team. And as an incoming student and a current student, you will deal with us quite a bit. We get to know each other. So I just want to give you a little insight into DMI and our programs we offer. We have this one-year certificate accelerated program in animation and visual effects. We're fully accredited. There's no general education classes, which is often much more appealing to someone who does not want a four-year degree. Our main goal is to create a pipeline of workforce-ready graduates upon completion of our program. Now I'm going to introduce Greg Nelson again.
Hi, everybody. All right. So, just for everybody that is online tonight, I'm Greg Nelson. I am the animation and visual effects instructor. I'm also the academic director here at the school. We've been in business since we started in 2013, actually, and this is one of those things that it's been really my privilege to actually. I've got a lot of former students in the classroom tonight, which is great, and this has been just such a great opportunity for us to reach out to the community here in Shreveport and develop like a workforce that's ready to go out and do the types of things. Now, one of the reasons that the DMI is here is simply because the tax incentives are here in Louisiana, and so there is film production that gets done here, and so we started as a response to that. One of the things that we're kind of excited about is that the Troubled Muse Studios has started. We've got two of my grads that are here that are also working there. If you guys want to, Hannah and Zach, if you guys want to. Well, not your yes, okay. And then also, if you guys obviously it would be hard to miss the news that 50 Cent is setting up shop here also, which is at the old Millennium Studios, which is where I used to work back in the day. And so we're excited for what that can mean for the community again in terms of a workforce working on films and TV shows here. We're excited for what that can mean for the school also. And so that's one of the things that we're here to do is to get the workforce ready for projects like that. So that's kind of the spiel. We do a 1-year intensive program. So We go through animation and effects. We do 3D, which is we work a lot in Maya, and then we do a lot of 2D composite work, which is when you're assembling shots and things like that um, in compositing and things like that. And that's our 1 year program. And when you come out of it, I think that you've got a pretty decent understanding of what the workflow is, because it's a big workflow. It's not like, people think, oh yeah, I can learn stuff on YouTube, and you can. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But if you want to learn like the whole workflow, how it all really works, it takes a little bit more work than just grabbing a video here and grabbing a video there and that sort of thing. And that's what we do, is we teach you what the whole thing. So um, what we're here to do tonight is kind of talk about Unreal Engine. And I've become a really big fan of it over um, the last year and a half or so. I think it's become something that's being adopted a lot in the visual effects industry. Back when we started, um, you know, game engines and visual effects were kind of separate in terms of what they did. And now game engines have gotten to a point where they're pretty good actually in terms of the kind of images that they can turn out and that are being used on a daily basis in the film and television industry now. So that's been a nice change for us, I think. And so we want to spend a little time just kind of going through it a little bit and showing you guys what it does. Um, Now, some of you are sitting at a seat where it's set up. We only have like 7 or 8 that we were able to get running for tonight. And if you should obviously know if you're sitting there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of go through a tutorial that I put together. Some of it is going to be some that you can follow along with, and there's going to be a little bit more that I did that kind of shows a little bit more what Unreal can do. And so I think you guys are going to like it. If you like Unreal, and if you want to learn more about Unreal, what's great about it is it's a free program. So you can actually download it. You can run it at home. There's nothing that's really going to prevent you from using it other than maybe the speed of your computer, right? So it's something that you can use, and we've got some courses on it. We've got some free classes that you can go to and download and watch those. We've got a paid course also that will help you guys if you want it, if you want to learn more about it. It's a great program. So I'm gonna get started here. Um, Now just so you guys understand, I did pre-record this only for the reason that sometimes when you're working in Unreal, there it might take a minute to load something here or there, and I've only got a limited amount of time, so I pre-recorded it. But I'm going to talk through it as it goes. So um, if you're sitting at a machine and you want to work through it, this first part, you can kind of follow along. Um, and I'm going to share the screen. Hang on. Come on. All right. And then I got to do this. Come on. Thing. There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Can you all see that? Mhm. Good. Okay, cool. All right. So this is the your basic interface that you see when you fire up Unreal Engine, and it's this is just basically the Epic Games Center, and from here um, you're going to load up on Unreal Engine.
All right, welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about
Hang on,
Unreal Engine, what it is, and how we.
All right, and so you'll go ahead and you'll be able to fire up. We've already pre-started Unreal Engine on these machines here just to get it going a little bit quicker. And so I fire it up, we'll get it running. And fortunately for you guys, it's compressed time, so it goes a little bit quicker than just watching this thing load up. Now, we start in this section, and this is just the basic loading section, and we basically start up with a base level of it. Come on, there we go. Yeah, there we go. And this is the one that I've got opened up for you guys on this end. Now, this is what the base level looks like. Essentially, it's just kind of a floor, and it's in a 3D space. It's very similar to like if you were in Maya or if you were in Blender or something like that, just it renders a little bit better, actually. And what it does is it comes along with a lot of starter content that you'll find. It's when I say starter content, I mean like 3D objects and things like that. And so um, it's gonna load here in just a second. So I fire up, and I'm gonna bring in just a chair. And so what's great about what you see here is that there's a fantastic marketplace that comes along with Unreal Engine, and it comes along with lots of objects that are included in the content that come here, and then lots of objects that you can pay for. Like if you want to buy like a pre-built environment, stuff like that, and I'm going to show that here in a second. So this is just like your basic 3D object, but you can see what I like about it is just that you can load up stuff really easily, and it rotates really quickly, and that sort of thing. And that's it's super useful. But and this is what I'm talking about right here. So we're going to get into, this is the Epic Games Center, right? And you can go into the marketplace there, and there's tons of stuff that's available. There's environments, there are animated characters, there are things like that that are all available that you can just buy. And there's lots of stuff that's for free out there too. And one of the things that I love about the way Epic kind of runs their games is that on the first month of every Tuesday, they release a whole bunch of stuff that's for free. That's really high quality work that you can download and you get to keep in your library permanently. It's like stuff that's worth hundreds of dollars often. And so for me, as an old school 3D artist, where you had to build everything on your own, I kind of love this because now there's stuff that you can like actually just go and throw in, and it looks great just out of the box. And from my perspective, what I love about Unreal Engine is when I started doing this like 30 years ago, you had to work really, really hard to get stuff to look good at all. Like, man, if I wanted to make this rock look good, I had to really spend some time on the lighting and the texturing and all these things. And the way that they've built Unreal now is a lot of stuff. They've taken a lot of the difficulty out of it so that things come and they look good right out of the box. Now, the next thing that I want to show you that's really, really cool here is that it comes with another program called Quixel Bridge. Okay. Now, Quixel Bridge is basically about 15,000 items of free content. Now that can be textures, that's 3D objects. That's and one of the things that I love about it is they do 3D scans of like huge rock faces and plants. And there's a whole section of like just junkyard stuff that they've 3D scanned and textured, and you literally can download it and throw it into your scene, and it works and it looks great. And you can get to building really, really quickly. And that is you guys, that's a huge benefit for if you want to start building stuff. That is an absolutely a must do. And I'm going to show you where we're going to get into it here in a second, where we start building stuff. But no, the first thing I want to show you is that like, let's say you want to load in a rock. So I'm going to go searching for bricks. Yeah, there we go. So So I'm going to load in a brick texture, and all we have to do is download this and bring it in, and it shows up in your content drawer, and it'll get there in a second, I promise. And oh, come on. Now I'm going to get rid of this chair here. And you can see that actually looks pretty decent. The textures finally showed up on it. But I'm going to show you what we get with this. I'm just going to load in a cube, okay? And this is just basic, super easy geometry. But one of the things that's great about it is that you've got all these objects and all this texture that already exists. And so you can go in, you can download it, and you can just take these textures and just drop them directly on your geometry, just like this. Just drag and drop it on there like that. And it comes out, and it actually looks pretty good. Like when it's rendering in light, it actually that will work pretty convincingly, as a brick texture. Now, is it perfection? No, but this kind of stuff, what they've done with this is they've made it so much easier for you to be able to do your work and to not have to troubleshoot so much. Now, that's okay. That's one thing. Now, the next thing I want to get into with you is like 3D, like there's 3D plants. And this one, I think I load up grass. Come on. Right. This is a 3D scanned rock. And so you can just load this in, and I'll show you like really quickly, just straight out of the box. This looks really good. Now, the thing that I'm showing here is the scale of this. It's compared to like a human size, and it's pretty big. So like so we'll load that in. I've got a few other ones that I've already pre-downloaded here, and we're going to go ahead and load those in. And you'll see really quickly how easy this is. Now, when I say 3D scan, I mean they went out with a LiDAR scanner, and they actually laser scanned all of the geometry to get it, so it like all of the ins and outs of it at a super high resolution. It's not some small piece of geometry. It's super high resolution. They also scanned and photo scanned all of the textures as well. And so when this loads in, you can see pretty quickly that that's not a bad looking rock. I mean, if you were to find that out in the world, you'd go, wow, that actually looks pretty good. And this comes with like, the lichen and all the little things that are in there. And for my money, you guys, like I said, back 30 years ago, I couldn't have done that. No way. And so to be able to have this available as something that's for free, right? That comes with it. This whole thing is free. You can load things up and start building environments very, very convincingly. And that's something that I genuinely like about it. Now, does that make sense to you guys? Is it? Yeah, go ahead.
Being a free program, they gotta make their money somewhere, so do they do it when you monetize your project?
Okay, so yeah, that's a great question. So the question for those of you that are online, it's free, right? So you make your money, like it's also a game engine, right? So they consider themselves to be a profit participant, and if you have a game that's a hit, they're going to take their percentage on it. So once it makes more than I think $1 million, then they start taking their percentage of your game, because they look at that as like, hey, you developed it in our free environment
To a certain level.
right. And then so that's where they make most of their money is in game engine work. And then if you're a business larger than something, they say you have to pay for a seat of it per seat. Now, one of the things that I'm getting into here is just loading. They've got 3D scans of like grass and plants and things like that. And I'm just showing you this just for the sake of like how it's working. Here, I'm gonna Now there's a great foliage editor in there. Sorry. And now the foliage looks really good too, just from the standpoint of this is just, grass that was scanned. Now, what's awesome about the way that this works is there is a foliage brush. And so you can go in and start taking all these different plants, you load them in, and you can start to paint them into place where they belong, which is actually really cool. So I'm just loading some of these plants in, and you can start to see that they just I'm just loading these in one by one here. But I'm going to the foliage editor here, if I can figure out where it is. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to select the specific ones that I brought in, and I'll be able to paint those into place here in just a second. And this is a technique that you find a lot. If you watch movies, the current movies that are out right now, if they're doing environmental stuff, they're doing it with something like this, not necessarily an Unreal Engine, but certainly something like this. And you'll see, I'm just taking my time here, getting this all selected and set up to paint, because I remember when I was doing this, I couldn't remember how to get it to work, but it'll get there in just a second. Come on, you can do it. There we go. It's a checkbox. It's always a checkbox. And so this foliage brush, come on, too big. This is why I recorded it, you guys, because watching me do this live sometimes is not always fun. There we go. So what's happening now is I'm starting to paint in little pieces of foliage, and you can go in and you can create really, really intense landscapes with this stuff, with trees and shrubs. And what's actually really cool about it is that you can import not just plants and things like that. Literally any object that you've got in there, you can turn it in and paint it in, and that's it's super useful. So like, if you wanted piles of debris or things like that, you can just go ahead and paint that in, and it is a huge time saver. Now you can also erase it. So like if I put in too many plants somewhere, you can start to erase those out and get rid of them, and you can get really, really specific about where things are supposed to go. I happen to really, really like the way this works, and that's one of the really cool functions of this program. And again, like I get blown away by the fact that it's free, honestly. Now, anybody got any questions so far? Anybody find it interesting? I hope.
Is this, for example, the quality of this, would that be used as you talking about the background or whatever, like in a green screen movie? Is it that quality?
It can be, yeah.
For a game.
Well, okay, so it started being made for a game.
Yes.
We've gotten to a point now with it. There are settings that you can go in and get it so it looks good. Yeah. Now I'm gonna pause this really quick here. Yeah, you can. And that's why we have started using it in our classroom, because it's good enough now that you can start to really use it for things that are really useful. Now, I'm switching to a different plan. Okay, this is just a different setup. Now I'm using admittedly, I am using a plugin called Waterline Pro, and Waterline it's like a $60 plugin, but it is so completely worth the money. And let me show you what this thing does. And I'll show you. I'm just going to kind of walk through a setup that I did. Now just by turning it on, this is just your base level water that's coming out. And this would be like, just a choppy sea, that sort of thing. And what's kind of cool about this actually is the fact that it works really so well that you can actually have objects that are interacting with it as if you know, as if they're actually in the water. And you know, and it'll give you foam on top of the water and stuff like that. And for my money, this is actually a really good place to start in terms of water. This is default, basically out of the box. And it comes with several other different settings for it, like you know, like the Pacific Ocean, maybe a lagoon where it's like you know, a nice different color water and things like that. But out of the box, I was actually really, really impressed with what this can do. Now, to get to essentially to get to your question, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start going through. This is a new setup that I did. This is the Atlantic Ocean, quote unquote, and I've gone through and I've done some settings in it to get it so it looks like a nice sparkly sunset. For me, this is based on I used to live in California, and I used to live very close to the Pacific Coast Highway, which was where you get out of LA up to a place called Big Sur. It's one of the prettiest places in California, and so I kind of based this whole idea on that area, and you'll see there's some bridges and stuff up there that I think are really cool. Now, one of the things that I happen to love about the way that Unreal works is that you've got control over the lighting really easily. And this is just hitting Control L, and I'm able to move the light around, and it interacts really, really easily. And when you do that, it even, you know, just in its base setting, it will change the lighting to make it look like sunset, that sort of thing. Um, and you know, for me, that's actually pretty cool. The way that it works. Now, one of the things that we're going to start doing is this is when we start getting into those same scans that I was using in the other setup, is we're going to start to bring in some larger ones, and we're going to start to make some rock objects like out in the water. And we're going to turn this into a really nice looking scene that you would totally find on the coast of California. And so these are actual rock faces and cliffs from Iceland. And so they went over there, they 3D scanned them, and they're huge. Just by scale, they're actually these are scanned to scale, and everything that happens within Unreal is actual to actual scale. So when we bring these in, they are to the foot, and my camera happens to be pretty high up right now, so you'll see what happens when I bring this in. It's like I've got to get it. So I'm going to bring this object out, and I've got to get it down to the water. But you can start to see that, like, just straight out of the box in that lighting condition, it looks pretty decent, actually. So I'm just going to go through bringing this down. And one of the things that's great about the way that Unreal works is that it caches all these things in. So um, it already knows how it wants to render things. It doesn't have to think about it very long. Whereas back in the day, if you were setting something like this up, it would take forever. Honestly, to get something to be this interactive, it would take a long, long time. So I'm just going through the process of I'm starting to bring in some rocks, and I'm just setting up just kind of a scene right along the coastline, and I'm able to duplicate these and move them around really easily. And I've got it so you can kind of see that it's. I want to actually kill this line. That help? Yeah. Okay. In fact, I'm realizing how bright it is over here. Greg, are you able to do like higher resolution images? Yeah. And that's the thing, is that what's actually really cool about it is that now you can render out in 10-bit EXR and like at 4K. And so you can absolutely start to get really quality renders out of these. And so basically what I'm doing, I'm just going to set up a bunch of rocks here and you'll see, and then I'm going to bring in another thing, and you'll start to see how this renders out here in just a second. Now, just so I can see a little bit better, I'm moving the light around. So, and you can see that I mean, in any lighting condition, that actually looks pretty decent. And I'm pretty happy with how that's working. And I'm going to bring in a few more. One of the things that I've also done in here is you can kind of see like here set up kind of a nice fog out there that you would normally see, and we'll start to take advantage of that here in a second. So I'm also showing that, like, you know, a lot of this stuff is scanned only on one side for obvious reasons because you can't scan through the rock. But I'm just going ahead and building a nice little setup of rocks and just a general rock face, and we're going to get it dialed in really quickly. I think for me, one of the things that's just kind of fun about this is that it happens so quickly. You know, when you've been doing this long, it's a matter of perspective in terms of how long this used to take, and so I'm just able to move things, and they're almost fully rendered to begin with. So now, as I start to slide this out, you'll start to see that it's going out into the fog, and the next ones that I put out there will do the same thing. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit because it, you know, so you can see how the fog is starting to play in there with that, and that's starting to work really well, I think. And one of the things that you find off the coast of California is the Channel Islands are out there, down the southern part of California. And so it's always, you know, interesting to see things, just objects way out in the distance. And so that's one of the things that I'm getting set up here. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit more here. And I'm starting to just bring some rocks in to get them under the water, like, you know, like piles of rocks are falling out. Now I want to start to get the lighting setup, getting it back into this, because I was just setting it up the lighting like this just for the sake of being able to see it. But now I'm going to bring it back into that lighting condition that I wanted, and yeah, this will take a second. I do really like the way that the light interacts with everything, and I'm just, as I'm going through here, I'm just trying to figure out where do I want the sun most, and ultimately it ends up being over here. Any thoughts, questions, you guys? Well, make sense.
Yeah.
I hope so. All right, cool. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. All right. Now, yeah, then I add a couple more out in the distance just to give it some, you know, one of the things you always like to do is out there is to have something that, you know, as your eye is tracing its path through everything. I want to see some stuff way off in the distance, maybe some coastline, maybe another island out there. And so it's just a real subtle acknowledgement that there's a little something going on out way far away from the camera. Now, one of the things that I really like about this is that you can start to, I built another project earlier for another thing that I was doing. And let's see where it is. There we go. That's starting to work. All right. Yeah, so I built a bridge, and this is built based on the Colorado Street Bridge in Pasadena, California. It's you see it every year. during the Rose Bowl. It ends up. It is one of the more iconic bridges in all of Los Angeles. You see it all the time. Now, it happens that if I understand correctly, the company that got the contract to build this one, like in the early 1900s, also got the contracts to do other ones in California. And so they built one very, very similar to that right along the coast in the early 1900s in California. And so I'm gonna get this one in place here. And I happen to build this one in sections, which bridges typically are. And so I'm just able to just go ahead and duplicate this one and get it into place. And so I'm just going to duplicate some different sections of it. There we go. We're getting there. We go. And that's starting to work. What I like is it's starting to catch the light nicely. And this one was built specifically for that purpose, just to catch light and shadow for the purposes of this demonstration. Now, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start to set up my camera move here. And this is where I start to really like what some of the functionality that's built into this really powerful rendering engine. And let me get the there we go. All right, so now I've got my camera in place here. And I'm just setting it up so it can render. It's going to move. I'm going to set it up so you can see through the camera here in just a second. Just getting this thing assembled here. And now I've got it set up so the camera is going to move nicely through the light here. Hopefully. So I'm just adjusting the camera position here. That's a pretty decent looking shot. I actually really like the way that's starting to come together. Now, one of the things that it does really, really well is I'm going to go through and I'm going to set up some different lighting effects in here. And so there you can see it without the lighting effects on there. And I think that looks pretty nice. But then once you start to turn the light on, you get interactive lighting with it, like light shafts and things like that. And you'll start to see here as I start to scroll through that now we've got, you know, the light and the atmosphere in there. And for me, that's where this thing really starts to take off, where you can get some real interactive looking things going on in the environment, which, you know, again, for in a lot of ways, the perspective for me on this is like that used to be really hard to do, and now you're able to get this stuff coming out a lot better really quickly. So, and I would say like all in, this video probably runs about 50 some odd minutes, and in the terms of compressed time, this is maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of work. Whereas, you know, and that gets you in the ballpark really quickly for a shot, and you can start to use things really fast. And so that's one of the things that I like a lot about it is the speed and the quality of it. And yeah, I think you know, with more time, you know, you can really get there with a shot that's really quite spectacular. So that is essentially that's my run through on an Unreal Engine. And this is, you know, again, this is just out of the box. It's a free product that you know, you can download today, and you can start using it today actually. And
With your own data asset with the water.
yeah, literally that was it. And I built the bridge, and then the rocks were, you know, the rocks are free, and you can get there really quickly in this, in my opinion.
Single machines live like this book. So what he's doing here is simulating actual ocean and the lighting and sunlight and all that stuff live as it's looking. Whereas the other parties don't reaching this much awareness and detail. But
Anybody else have any thought? Yeah, go ahead.
PC, like how high tech will PC we like honestly.
So the question is, what's the how high tech of a PC do you need to run this? And so the machines that we give our students they've got let's see, GTX, like they're 4070 cards. That's a pretty decent card. And it does really well. That's what I'm using, same machine I'm using right now. And so, you know, and we like it for our students that they leave here with a beefy machine that they can use so they can go out and work. And so we, you know, you get that as part of the enrollment here. And so I think so. It's not a small card. I mean, it's pretty useful. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what we try to do. We would try to, you know, give our students the opportunity to have stuff that they can really use when they leave. Anybody else have any other thoughts? Yeah, go ahead. No.
Basically it's rendering the engine, or is it rendering,
It's
video based?
It's NVIDIA based, yeah. So
to clarify, versus PC, it's like, so you can run Unreal Engine on a Mac, but the power behind Unreal right now is the new technology called nanite tessellation.
yes.
In detail, the rock faces that we showing, all that detail, all on nanite. And so you don't get that on Mac. It only be done with graphics cards that they're partnering with and getting the.
Yeah.
Bring to this thing, right?
Right.
And the max. Well, I don't know.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, those don't follow a lot of it. I've had pro.
So if you're joining us online, the question is whether or not this can be used on a PC or a Mac. And right now it's mostly PC based.
Software.
So yeah.
What is the difference, say, Mid-Journey?
so Midjourney, you are using prompts to guess what it is that you want versus here you have total control over your visuals. And so when you go into a production scenario, you don't want to leave up stuff to chance. And so you want to create all of your assets and all this stuff is director based. So that way you can art direct what your scenes look like in a realistic manner. Now, utilizing Unreal Engine, there's more to the pipeline when it comes to production, right? It's not always just Unreal, but Midjourney definitely can give you an idea of what it is a director might want. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have total control over your assets and modeling. And so for, this one, Midjourney is AI.
Yeah.
So you can get fantastic backgrounds and looks out of it, but at the end of the day, you can't manipulate those things. So keep regenerating and prompting to get something similar to what you might have in. So. I'll get into that.
Sure, yeah, I got you.
There we go. Oh, I'm still there, huh? Okay, that's not necessary. So I wanted to invite up actually a couple of former students that are now working in the industry, and if you guys want to come up, kind of talk about like maybe you're all three of you, yeah, come up, or actually four of them. John, if you want to come up too, you're welcome to talk a little bit about your experience here